Hi, my name is Amy Rovner and I'm a nutrition faculty here at Shoreline Community College. As you will learn as we move through this class, the Mediterranean diet is one of the diets that has shown health benefits over time. So we thought we would open the course with this recipe for a Mediterranean quinoa salad. It's delicious and versatile. One disclaimer before I begin today. We are not trained chefs. We are registered dietitians and educators who happen to love healthy foods. We are having fun putting together these cooking demos for you, but what we actually are most excited about is the recipes and foods you share in our weekly discussions. Here we're going to go ahead and review the ingredients that we're going to be using today. So we have this tricolor quinoa, which is going to be the basis for our meal. It's got white quinoa, black quinoa, and red quinoa. They have a little bit of different flavors, but they're very tasty. We have a 1/4 cup of pine nuts. We're going to go ahead and toast those in a few minutes. We have a 1/4 cup of olive oil, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. We have chopped up here 3 tablespoons of fresh mint and another 3 tablespoons of fresh Italian parsley. We have about 3 scallions chopped up here. Here I've got some arugula that I lightly chopped. And this is about a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of feta cheese. Here we have a 1/4 cup of dried currants. And most importantly, one of the key ingredients that adds flavor and color are these roasted red peppers. That's about 1.5 peppers. And then we have a little broth to cook the quinoa in. The base of this salad is quinoa. If you're not familiar with this, we refer to it as a grain, but it is actually not a grain. It's not related to wheat, oats, and other cereal grains. It is actually related to beets, chard, and spinach. It grows high in the Andes and has an ancient history with the Incas. It was largely forgotten and was certainly not a common part of the Western diet until it became trendy around the year 2000. You can find many claims made about its health benefits. What is certain is that it's one of the only plant foods to be a complete protein, which means it contains all of the essential amino acids. It's also very high in fiber, it's a great source of magnesium, and it's gluten-free for folks who are watching their gluten. The first thing we're going to do is cook the quinoa. It's always a really good idea to rinse the quinoa before cooking. It has a naturally occurring bitter coating on it that we want to go ahead and remove. And now that it's a little wet, we're going to go ahead and we're going to heat it up. Heat up this little pan we have here on about medium heat. And we're going to put in about a tablespoon of olive oil, just to get a nice start on that. And we're going to let that warm up for a second. You can see the olive oil. All right, so we've got the oil heating in the pan. And so now we're going to go ahead and take this quinoa that we've drained pretty well, but it's still a little damp. We're going to go ahead and put that in. Oh, I don't want to get all that quinoa in there. And we're just going to toast it up for, a minute or two. You want some of that residual moisture to disappear, and it should start to have a nice toasty flavor. There we go. See the steam? That steam tells us it's doing its drying job. So we're going to turn it around a little bit, because we definitely don't want to burn it. Okay, so now it's sizzling and it's steaming and it's drying out a little bit and getting a little toasty. So we're going to go ahead and add our cooking liquid. So you can just use water, but I'm going to go ahead and use vegetable broth today because it's going to add a little more flavor. So we have 1 cup of quinoa and we're going to add 2 cups of liquid. So there's 1. I'm going to add a second. Okay, and there's 2. I'm going to give that a little stir. And as soon as that comes back to a boil, we're going to go ahead and turn it down to the lowest heat possible and cover it. And it's going to cook really fast. It's one of the other really great things about quinoa is you don't have to wait half an hour for it to cook. It'll really be done in about 15 minutes. As you can see, it's starting to simmer in there. So we're going to go ahead and put the lid back on. And we're going to turn the heat down as low as it goes. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and toast our pine nuts. So we have a 1/4 cup of pine nuts, and we're going to go ahead and just spread them out on a cookie sheet, and just so they have a chance to spread out. And I've already preheated the oven, and it's set to 300, and we're gonna keep a careful eye on them because there's nothing worse than burnt pine nuts. And it's easy to do. But we're gonna go ahead and put them in the oven, and we'll check back on them in a minute or two. So we went ahead and toasted the pine nuts in the oven. It took a little under 5 minutes, and they're nicely browned, and you see how shiny they are? The oils have come out of them, and they have a very delicious aroma. So that's gonna be really tasty in our salad. So whenever you make a dressing, you always start with the oil. So here we have that 1/4 cup of olive oil. We're gonna put that in there. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and I went a little heavy-handed on the lemon juice because I like it pretty lemony. And so you're going to want to whisk it up first, and this makes what's called an emulsion. So you want the oil to be together with the lemon juice really nicely. We'll get that. And so now you can see the oil is very, very small and evenly distributed throughout the lemon juice. So that's going to be a nice salad dressing for us. So to that, we're going to go ahead and add the mint, this fresh mint that we've chopped, 3 tablespoons. And we're going to add the flat leaf parsley. You could also use fresh basil if you had it, or another kind of aromatic herb. Put that in there. And we're going to just kind of give it a good mix. And that's it for the dressing. You could add a little pinch of salt, which I think I will do. And sprinkle that in there. And I'm gonna give it a grind of pepper as well, because I happen to like peppery things, but that's optional. You can season it as you'd like. So give that another stir. All right, so we're gonna just set that aside for now while we wait for the quinoa to finish up. Okay, so we're back. Our quinoa has cooked for 15 minutes. And once it's done, you turn it off. And then you go ahead and you set it aside on a cool burner and just let it sit for another about 5 minutes, and it's going to absorb the rest of the liquid. So we're going to go ahead and take the lid off and take a look, and we can tell it's done because they're plump, and you see the little tails have come out of each quinoa. So they each have a little curly tail. They're kind of cute that way. So this is ready, and we're just going to go ahead and give it a little fluff because it can get kind of stuck together, and we don't want that. So I'm going to give it a little fluff there. And set this aside. So now that it's warm, we're going to go ahead and drizzle just a little bit of dressing on it because we want that flavor to be soaked in while it's still warm. I'll give that another little fluff. Okay. And now what we're going to do, it's a little odd, but we want it to cool before we add all the other ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and put it in a big bowl and just kind of spread it out so that it has a chance to kind of cool off. Because if we put everything in right now while it's really hot, it's all going to kind of melt and get kind of gushed together. And we want it to be, everything to stay separate and identifiable. So let that cool for just a couple minutes. All right, so now the quinoa has had a chance to cool. So we're going to go ahead and add the rest of the dressing with all those good greens in there. Give that a light stir. And then it's super easy. All we do is add in all the other ingredients. So those delicious toasted pine nuts, sprinkle them in. We're going to save the feta for the end, I think. We're going to put some of the roasted red peppers in. It's probably too many. All of the currants. The chopped scallions. And we're going to go ahead and put in this arugula that we had chopped up. And again, you could use spinach. You could use any kind of green you had around. This is a really flexible recipe. You can add in whatever you have around the house, whatever sounds good, whatever's in season. So I'm going to add a lot of this, but we're going to save some. Okay. And then we're just going to gently kind of stir it all together and see all the bright colors. It's fun to look at, and I can't wait to taste it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a really nice dish, and we're going to give it a taste. So we're going to put it in a nice dish that's going to highlight all the pretty colors. And it's always important too that we taste what we're making. So I'm gonna let Allison do the honors.
Looks so delicious and so beautiful.
All right.
So good.
Doesn't need anything. We have more salt, more pepper, lemon.
Decorate with a little feta.
Okay,
Yes.
we've got the feta, so we will do
Love
a little
cheese.
little garnish on top to make it pretty. Okay, so as we mentioned, it's a really versatile recipe. So you could put in any greens you had on hand. You can add other ingredients. You know, we've got some chopped up cucumber, which you could add. It would be more like a tabbouleh, but you can make tabbouleh with quinoa as well, if that's something you like to make. And some of my favorite, Kalamata olives, or any kind of olives you have. It's gonna change the flavor profile a little bit, but play around with it, see what tastes good. And you know, we're really curious, you know, what will you add? What would you add?
Yes.
Traditionally, what might you have on hand that maybe we don't have here that you might like to add? We'd love to know. So maybe add that to one of the discussion posts.
Absolutely, share your ideas so we can all find out and share in our delicious adventure here.
Yes, and also we're gonna probably serve this with some crusty bread and maybe some soup, but what else would you serve it with? We're also really curious to know what that would be.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. I think it's time for us to eat.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.